David Menzies for Rebel News here in downtown Toronto. And folks, I have returned to the disgrace that is Allen Gardens. It is a festering tent city. It is home to drug addicts, the mentally ill, and criminals. And the reason why I am here today is to present the city's side of the story as to why this situation is being allowed to continue. But before I get to that, if you can you kindly go to our new website, fixourcities.com. That's fixourcities.com. As you know, there are a growing number of problems appearing in municipalities all across our great dominion. Problems that could be solved if only there was the political will to do so. Sadly, that is in short supply. So again, please go to fixourcities.com, sign the petition, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation. Now, as I mentioned, folks, I'm here to give the City of Toronto's explanation as to why this disgrace is indeed being tolerated. And don't take my word for it. Consider the words of Chris Moyes. He is the councillor for this ward. Back in May, he posted this on social media, quote, "This public park has become a private party grounds with music blaring, regular campfires, and rampant open drug dealing day and night. The park is unsafe for everyone. There have been sexual assaults, stabbings, and overdoses happening regularly. Residents have reported to me that they have witnessed and experienced racist, sexist, and homophobic verbal attacks, intimidation, as well as aggressive and violent behavior, including physical assault. I have personally experienced this as well on my own walks through the park," end quote. So again, that is Councillor Chris Moyes bemoaning this months ago, and nothing is being done. So as I said, I did reach out to the City of Toronto, and they emailed me a response in regard to why the situation at Allen Gardens is indeed being tolerated. A spokesman wrote this, quote, "City outreach staff and community partners are working daily with Allen Gardens encampment occupants to build trusting relationships, help address immediate health and safety needs, and connect people to supports and permanent housing. To support this important work, on June 26, the city established an information and help center in the park. The center, located in a temporary modified shipping container on the southeast side of the park, is being used by city staff as a small office. The center will provide a consistent on-the-ground presence in the park to help facilitate relationship building with encampment occupants, their advocates, and other interested parties. The container will remain in place while there is a significant need for on-site resources. The center will also serve as a resource for neighbors and other community members that may have questions or wish to be engaged further. A similar center was a central component of the approach taken at Dufferin Grove Park in 2021, which was successful in helping those at the park transition to shelter or housing," end quote. Ah, yes, the infamous Dufferin Grove Park, which was taken over by the homeless and social justice weirdos, and the restroom facilities as well, I might add. We paid a visit back that summer to the people occupying Dufferin Grove Park. Check out the video evidence. When it comes to booting out the hooligans here in Toronto, the sanctuary city of John Tory, we do it slowly but surely. Well, I got to tell you, finally, it's Monday and it's time to take out the trash. The police and the security have descended here on Dufferin Grove Park, and they are indeed enforcing the order to take down this squalid tent city. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm just reading your breast. What does that say exactly?
It says no justice, no peace.
Oh, okay. Now, do you identify as Afro or Indigenous?
I identify as an ally who realizes that my ancestors colonized this country, and I want to be a part of the solution.
Yeah, I guess all those gender studies students needed something to do in the summertime as they awaited their woke classes to resume in the fall. But the thing is, at least Dufferin Grove Park was indeed cleared out. But here at Allen Gardens, there is no end in sight. In fact, the encampment seems to be growing. By the way, another reason Dufferin Grove Park became such a disaster is that it was the new stomping grounds for members of a group called Afro-Indigenous Rising. Do you remember them? Back in the summer of 2021, they camped out at Nathan Phillips Square, literally the town square, for 3 entire weeks, breaking 11 sections of the Trespass Act before disgraced ex-mayor John Tory finally found his spine and called in the cops. And we were on hand to chronicle that situation. Check it out.
Do good people occupy illegally the public square?
A public square, my friend? Yeah. I'm homeless. I'm homeless, my friend. Where am I going to sleep?
Sir, could you please move your hand away from the camera?
Sorry, but I'm not touching it.
So what is the goal here, sir? What are you trying to do? Why are you illegally occupying the public square? Why are you copying the thugs in Seattle that have the autonomous zone? Well, you see, folks, I think we're getting a clear impression of why these people want to abolish the police, because they're bullies. So what are you guys, Black Lives Matter? Or are you Antifa? Why are you touching my microphone, sir?
Where you going, bro?
Yeah, where you going? That's the garbage.
Come on, you want a trash can?
Folks, welcome to John Tory's Toronto. Hey, get off me. Stop it.
Nice. In any event, here comes what I consider to be a major red flag in terms of the city's response to their policy with Allen Gardens, and it's this, quote, "This approach also aligns with recommendations from the Toronto Ombudsman's report, Investigation into the City's Clearing of Encampments, to provide dedicated resources for those living in encampments to ask questions or raise concerns with the city." Now, the reason why I flag that as an ominous note, folks, is the spokesman's referring to the report authored by Kwame Addo, the Toronto Ombudsman, in regard to how Trinity Bellwoods Park, how that park was cleared of its homeless and criminal element. And guess what? Mr. Addo was highly critical of the Toronto police officers and firefighters in terms of how they handled the clearing out of violent criminals. It's incredible. And by the way, I do not exaggerate when I speak of violent people, and for that matter, animals, at Trinity Bellwoods Park. Check out what happened to cameraman Lincoln J and I when we went down to pay a visit.
I don't like myself being filmed. You don't have the right to actually smash that camera. Hey, right now.
I wouldn't do that.
I have the right to smash that.
Hey,
camera. I won't do that. By law, I have the right to smash that.
You
right?
have the right to smash that camera by
Yeah,
law?
yeah. By law, you know I have to
Hey.
smash that camera.
What law are you quoting? In any event, the city goes on to state the following, quote, "The collaborative model at Allen Gardens builds on the city's overall response to homelessness that is grounded in a housing-first approach. Outreach work at Allen Gardens is focusing on helping people find permanent housing with the supports they need to live as independently as possible, while also aiming to ensure that the park is open and available for everyone's use and enjoyment," end quote. Well, I don't know about you folks. I look around at the squalor here, the garbage, the dangerous people camping out. Does this really look like an environment that is open and available for everyone's use and enjoyment? But the city further goes on to note the following, quote, "The city is committed to making homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring, but it cannot do it alone. New and enhanced investments are urgently needed from the Government of Canada and Province of Ontario to complement city investments and increase the supply of deeply affordable rental housing with supports that include harm reduction and mental health supports, end quote. Really rare, brief, and non-recurring. As I stated, folks, homeless encampments in the city of Toronto, they used to be non-existent, and now you see them popping up everywhere, and it's kind of like whack-a-mole. You take away one homeless encampment and they spring up somewhere else at another park. So this whole idea that we need more time, we need more money from the province, the federal government, I'm highly skeptical that's ever going to happen. And finally, the city notes. Any questions directly related to enforcement of the criminal code should be directed to Toronto Police Service Media Relations, end quote. You know, I'm doubtful that will do any good. The police are kind of getting used to turning a blind eye on the order of their political masters to lawlessness, whether it's the tent city here at Allen Gardens or what happened during the Pride Parade when, yet again, men took off all their clothes in a public setting and exposed their genitals, including to an audience that included children. Once again, no charges laid. You know, folks, as my cameraman Avery and I were leaving Allen Gardens, I couldn't help but notice the off-leash dog park at the northwest corner of Allen Gardens. And what particularly drew my attention was this warning: no commercial dog walkers allowed. Yeah, so doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about the city of Toronto right now? If you are a commercial dog walker letting your dogs use the park, that is strictly verboten, and oh boy, are you going to get a big fine for it. But if you are a drug addict, if you are a criminal, camping overnight, blaring music, having a bonfire raging, hey, what are you going to do? For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzies. Folks, please help us send a message to the powers that be that enough is enough when it comes to the decline of our great Canadian cities. Please go to fixourcities.com. That's fixourcities.com. Please sign your name to the petition, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation so that we can continue to bring you this kind of journalism.